Hello viewers, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my channel Learn English with Ahmed. We continue with the subject and today we look at another aspect of subject. And the topic for today's today's video is subject-verb agreement. Well, what is subject-verb agreement? Well, subject-verb agreement means, for example, in English we have all grammatically correct sentences have a main verb. So when we have the main verb in a sentence, the main verb should agree with the subject. That means the main verb should be used according to the subject. If you use it according to the subject, your sentence is correct. If you don't use it according to the subject, the sentence is incorrect. Well, let's go to the board and let me explain it to you more. So the main verb must agree with the subject. For example, if the subject is singular, noun and singular, so the verb must be singular as well. For example, there is a boy in the garden. So we see here singular subject and the verb is singular. The verb is used according to the singular subject. When the subject is plural, the verb must also be plural. For example, there are boys in the garden. So I'm sure you know these 2 points. But there are, sometimes we have trickier situations when it comes to subject-verb agreement in English. So we're going to talk about these 5 tricky situations today. The first one is, what about uncountable nouns? For example, the word gold is uncountable, honey is uncountable, grammatically speaking. So what about the verb with these nouns? Well, the verb with these nouns must be singular. So we say gold is expensive. Not golds are, gold is expensive. Honey is sweet, not honey are sweet. So honey is sweet, gold is expensive. Silver is cheap, for example. Water is flowing. So with uncountable nouns, the subject must be singular. The next point, a bit tricky situation when it comes to subject-verb agreement is gerunds. The gerunds are these ing forms. For example, I'm fond of traveling, so traveling is gerund, let's say. So what if we have a gerund in the beginning of a sentence used as a subject? For example, lying, like telling lies. So lying is bad. So lying is the gerund here and it is singular. So these gerund forms take singular verbs. Another example of gerund is getting up early is good. So getting up early is the subject and the verb used is singular. That's the second situation. 3 more tricky situations on this side of the board. So, for example, sometimes it's a bit difficult, a bit hard to see what the subject is. So we might have 2 nouns in the beginning of a sentence. So what to do in that situation? For example, here we have eating sweets. So we have gerund here in the beginning, eating, and sweets. So you see eating is singular and gerund is plural. So what about verb? Should we use the singular or plural form here? So eating sweets leads to, or eating sweets lead to weight gain. So the correct sentence is eating sweets leads to. So the subject is basically eating, the process of eating, the act of eating. So eating sweets is. Eating too much sweets is, for example, bad. This should make it easy to understand. So eating sweets leads to weight gain. If you eat more and more sweets, it will make you fat. So in this situation, a bit tricky, but I'm sure not that difficult to understand. The next example is the boys in the garden. So we have the boys and then we have the garden. So what is the subject? Well, the subject is the boys. So it should be the boys are, right? Not in the garden. So the boys in the garden are having fun, for example. So that's the third tricky situation where it's a bit difficult to see what the subject is. Is it singular or plural, and the verb must be according to that subject. The next point about subject-verb agreement are these certain nouns which end in S. And we know that whenever there is S at the end of a noun, it's most probably a plural noun, like cat, cats, dog, dogs, marker, markers. So markers are, there are markers here, for example. But there are certain nouns which end in ed, but they're basically singular nouns. For example, these words for these disciplines like linguistics, statistics, politics, physics. These words are singular, and the verb must be used according to the subject, which is singular in this case. So the example sentence here is, linguistics is my favorite subject. Linguistics is my favorite subject. Or politics is what me, politics is this, for example. So singular verb. And I'm sure you know this word measles, a disease. So though we have S at the end, but still the noun is singular. So measles is the disease which attacks many children around the world, or which attacked many children, or measles was a disease. Was very common in the past, not that much now. So measles is. So these nouns take a singular verb. The last point, what about the names of companies, for example, which like where the name is plural? Let's say City Books, for example, City Books. So we have books, but we treat this as a singular. So the example sentence is, City Books sells a great variety of books, or City Books is not very far from here, for example. So City Books, or any other company's name which has a plural word in it, but still we treat it as a singular, and the verb is used accordingly. So that's it. I hope you found this video useful. So we'll continue with this subject-verb agreement. There are a few more tricky points that I think I should clarify. So before we leave, please like, share, subscribe to my channel, and come back for more videos. See you.